Hey guys, it's Erica, and today we're here to talk about pothos. So there are so many different varieties. I think I have 9 with me right now, and they're so easy to take care of. They're good for low light situations, for beginners, for people who just want to have a luscious vining plant around their house. Overall, it's just a great plant. It's easy to get your hands on. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to go over the different kinds of varieties there are and just some basic care. So what I learned doing a quick little Google search about this plant is that there are actually only 2 different kinds of cultivars and the rest are just hybrids. So I was really shocked to hear this, but the 2 different cultivars are the Golden Pothos and the Marble Queen. So these are under Epipremnum aureum. Okay, so bear with me. I'm going to be showing you every single kind, how they look, and pretty much just you can choose which one you want. They're usually not difficult to find, and they're very easy to care for, like I keep saying. Great plants for beginners. 100%. This is actually the plant that got me into houseplants in the first place. Okay, so I'm just gonna go around in order. Fair warning, some of them look kind of sad because I tend to neglect these and I water them only when they look sad. So here, first we have a Jade Pothos, and this one I think is just so good for draping, like maybe if you want to have it on your ceiling. I don't know, I feel like outside hanging from like a porch, it looks really nice. It kind of makes like a shady area, but like I said, it's just full green. There's actually no variegation on this plant, and that's pretty much why I love it. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. It's just a luscious green plant. There we go. This is a Jade Pothos. This is how they look when they're thirsty. So you can see its leaves are kind of wilty and it's just not looking very luscious right now. So I'm gonna water this baby after this video and he is gonna go back to being full and gorgeous. The next pothos that I have here is one that I just recently picked up, and this is called a Glacier Pothos. It could also be called I'm pretty sure Pearls and Jade. So it kind of looks like an enjoy. This is kind of like a mix between an enjoy and a Marble Queen. You can see on these leaves. Oh, this is the yellowing one. I originally thought that this was an enjoy, and then I took a closer look at the leaves and I was like, nope, that is definitely not an enjoy. And since we're talking about enjoys, I don't have a full plant, but I do have some cuttings because I gave my plant away to a friend. So here we have an enjoy leaf. You can see that these leaves are kind of they have more clear variegation. So there's white stripes and there's green, and that's it. It's very clear cut. You can definitely tell where the variegation is. Sorry, I also have some neon pothos in here, but I don't know why enjoys kind of remind me of cows. These ones kind of have more stiff stems. I don't really know how to explain it, but these are more kind of flowy and everything, and then enjoys are kind of more stiff and hard to move around. And then I also did mention a Marble Queen, and this is my Marble Queen. Some of it looks well watered and then some of it looks very sad. So Marble Queens can kind of look different depending on what kind of sunlight you give yours. So when I originally bought this plant, it had this beautiful white and green, like very stark white, very stark green. Like you can completely tell the difference. It even had some of these kind of like half leaves going on, and that is what I loved about this plant. And then as I kept it under grow lights, the leaves that came out turned out to look like this. You can kind of see the variegation, but it's more yellowish with green, and I'm not worried about it because those leaves also look very gorgeous. So yes, depending on what kind of light you give your plant, they can either lose variegation, change variegation. So I also do have here a golden pothos. And I have another golden pothos that I don't give as much light as this one. You can see this one doesn't have too many gold flakes in it. And the one that I have in a different room, it's not getting very much light at all. So it just looks like an emerald pothos, but I know that it's a golden one because I've seen those golden specks when I first bought it. But these can get really giant leaves, and when they get super big, they even have a little bit of fenestrations on them. So that's really cool. Over here, this is a Satin Pothos or Silver Pothos, whatever you want to call it. And as you can see, these curly leaves mean that it's due for a watering. But fun fact, this actually is not a pothos. This is a Scindapsus pictus. So pothos are from the genus Epipremnum, and this is actually from the genus Scindapsus. So that's a little fun fact, but I thought I'd include it in this video because its common name is Satin Pothos. And these plants, if its leaves were actually full, you would be able to see how gorgeous they are. They have these beautiful silvery flecks on them. They reflect in the light. They're a little bit sparkly, and I absolutely adore this plant. This was also one of the first plants that I got when I started getting into plants, and I highly recommend it. It's very easy to care for. All of these plants really can kind of take a lot of neglect. As you can see, this is really needs some water, but this is how I've been taking care of it, and it's been growing just fine. Here we have a neon pothos, and you can very much tell why it's called a neon pothos. When you see it against other plants, it really brightens up spaces. This is just a really fun pothos. It's kind of it feels a lot like the golden pothos. It's just a neon version of it. So yes, love this plant. If you love neon green, bright colors, this is for you. And this is the last pothos that I have here to show you. This is a Cebu blue, and this pothos does look a lot different than all the rest because of the shape of its leaves. So this one kind of has long leaves, long thin leaves, but it does grow very similarly to the rest. It vines, it trails, and it grows pretty quickly. Doesn't need too much watching over. It'll grow if you neglect it, because like I said, I do neglect all my pothos, and as you can see, it is doing fantastic. Really, really cool plants. This is one of my favorite pothos. I would highly recommend it. They kind of get blue, like a bluish tint to them. This one doesn't get a lot of light, so it doesn't really have that blue tint. But regardless, I think these leaves are still so stunning. Alright, although I have showed you all the pothos varieties that I own, there are still two that I don't have, and those include the Manjula Pothos and the Jessenia Pothos. So a Manjula Pothos kind of looks like an Enjoy Pothos, or very similar to a Glacier Pothos, but it has more distinct kind of line to its variegation. And I think those lines are so beautiful. I've been wanting a Manjula for a long time, but I haven't found one, and I don't really want to buy one from online. I kind of want to just try to find one because I've heard of people finding them at Lowe's and Home Depot. And the other pothos that I don't have is a Jessenia. And Jessenias look very, very similar to Marble Queen Pothos, except instead of that kind of white and green, it has a yellowish and green tint to it. So it has the same looking kind of variegation as a Marble Queen, but the variegation is a different color, if that makes any sense. So those are all the different kinds of pothos that I know of. There could definitely be more that I haven't heard of, but I think 11 types of pothos is quite a bit. All right, now we're going to get into a little bit of care. I feel like I've talked a little bit about care throughout this whole video. Great news, they're very easy plants, they don't need that brightest light, and they don't need to be watered on time, which is key for me because I am a underwaterer. So pothos can definitely be in a low light situation. I have my Cebu blue over there. That one barely gets any light. I have no window in this room for sunlight to get to that plant, and it's not really near any of my grow lights, but it's there, it's still growing, it's doing pretty well. So they can handle low light situations. Also, if you want to keep a pothos for your office, that would work out very well because pothos grow under fluorescent lights. If you have a little cubicle and you want to spruce it up, a pothos would be a great way to do that. But what these plants would most prefer is having bright indirect light. Now, if you put them in bright indirect light, they will grow so quickly, it will be unbelievable to you. They already grow pretty fast without being in the brightest light conditions, so just imagine how fast they would grow if you gave them a lot of light. For watering, it's best to water them when their soil is dry. If you're like me, you can even wait until their foliage looks very droopy because that is a telltale sign that they need a watering. To water your pothos, you can just take it to your sink and run some water through it. They don't need filtered water or anything. They're not very picky plants. So you could just run some water through it and then wait till that water kind of drains out. And then once it's drained, you can water it again just to make sure that you gave it a nice thorough watering. Another way you can water your pothos is by setting it in a tub of water and then waiting for like 30 minutes or 15 minutes maybe, and then it will soak up all the water that it needs and it will be good to go. For the soil you choose for this plant, you don't really need to be very picky. You can just grab some Miracle-Gro, some perlite, mix it 40% perlite and 60% soil. They'll do really well in that. Just kind of give them well-draining soil and they will do fine with that. You can also fertilize them in the summer and spring once every 2 weeks. I like to use fish fertilizer. I use the amount that it says on the bottle. I don't half the amount or anything like that. Not only are these plants so easy to care for, but they can be used for such different looks. First of all, you can choose one of the many varieties of pothos there are to care for, and then you can decide if you want to stake it up, let it vine, or you can even have it taped to your walls and have it growing up like that. If you stake up a pothos, the leaves will get bigger and bigger as they grow up that pole or stick or stake, whatever you stick it to, it's gonna grow up there and its leaves are gonna get huge. If you let it trail, they will also do very well trailing. They look really beautiful in my opinion, trailing. I really love a trailing pothos. If you want, you can also have your pothos kind of wrap around little poles as they trail down. I think it would look so beautiful on like a shelf like this. Just have a pothos trailing around, wrapping around here. That is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you kind of had fun seeing all the different kinds of pothos there are, because I don't think I've ever brought all my pothos together, and there's a lot of different varieties that I kind of didn't expect, and it was a little bit weird to see them all together. Just a few little care tips. Oh, if you want to see how to propagate a pothos, I have a video on how to propagate vining plants. That would be perfect for you to watch, so you can go ahead and check that out. I'll link it down below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to. Post a ton of plant content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!